Okay, so let's just jump in to this stream / video today. Today I'm just going to be quickly narrating the Market Plaza series. We're starting from in the original series, part 4, but it will be part 3 in the narrated series. And we might get through a couple videos today. We'll see how it goes, but let's just get started. So there is obviously a quick tour showing the finished build. This is what you can expect your build to look out. I will pause here just so you have a few seconds to look at the layout. Just a reminder, this is the smallest set of tiles you are measuring with. You're not doing the 2x2s, you are doing the 1x1s. You can obviously, once you have your layout mapped out, you can go and fill in with 2x2s to create less lag. But when you're measuring, use 1x1s, please. So I don't actually still have the footage on my computer, but as you can see, there is a 1 block gap in between the doors and the sides. And each doorway should be a 3 block gap. And then you go up by 3. And when you drag across, actually drag across from the left. As you can see, I have some snapping issues here because it decided to snap to the wall over there. Again, just drag across from the left when doing these. Now, to prevent some snapping issues, I would actually do this step last. But you can do it now. There's no reason not to. I do it now. It's just it can create more snapping issues. So there will be 4 windows. And there will be a one wall gap in between each window. We're just dragging the pillars up. Then we're going to copy exactly what we did, which is 4 windows with 1 wall gaps. This entire build is basically a repeat of itself. It should be really easy, really quick to understand. You're just clipping the pillars into the walls and things just to create a bit of texture in the wall. Again, another row of windows. You're going up by 3, dragging across, and then filling in. Very simple, very easy. And again, what you've done for the previous, you're just clipping those pillars underneath the windows. And above the windows this time. Dragging across that stone arch beam. So what this is referring to is the walls are the same height as this wall here. You might need to build upwards in order to complete the full wall. I just recommend starting out the lower walls first, and then getting everything to the same height later on. The back is a little bit different. As you can see, there is a 1 wall gap here, and a 1 wall gap here, but the middle is free. And you're going to place the door there. And you're going to drag the walls across, and obviously the walls are going to be for the same height. And then you're basically following the same window pattern that you did on the other side. Again, if you built up, you could probably make this a lot easier on yourself. You're just adding in those windows here. there's no reason for you to specifically use these types of windows. There's lots of different windows that you can use in the Windrose building pieces, but I like these ones in particular quite a lot. The clear glass ones are also really nice. And again, you are just copying what you did on the other side here. The only different part of it was the bottom. And you, in a moment, will be adding in all the pillar details that you added on the other side. Just dragging across the arch beam. Over on this side, you didn't have to worry about snapping. It should all snap correctly. Sometimes the pillars can mess them up, but it's pretty rare for corner pillars to mess it up in my experience. If you're working with clay walls, it happens a lot more and it's infuriating. So this this section right here, why it jumps, is because I actually do this all wrong in the first recording of this. And I'm about to realize what I've done wrong. I get stuck here, so remember to build stuff in. I'm questioning what I have done here. But how you can base off the size is it should be, I think it should be one wall in, and then you add in your 45s. You don't really need to worry about the walls going across. They're just if you wanted to have a room up there. And we use leaf roofs at this stage in the game because this is done in the early access where there is no other 45s, and it's the most infuriating thing ever. But as soon as you get access to a clay or reed variant, I would swap these roofs for a clay or reed variant because the leaf roofs are just kind of ugly, sadly. And then, basically, that is this video done. You're adding the roof ridge to the top here. And I think we will basically just go straight into the next video because these are all really short and can basically be done as rapid fire. Although my explanation is not the best. Which is why I don't generally do narrated tutorials, because I am very bad at scripting. So again, here you can see the layout. I will just pause it here so you have a longer time. Again, this is done by the one tiles, as you can see demonstrated. The patterns can be confusing, but you actually see me build it in this one. You're basically just going to drag, so you can't really see it very well in that clip if I don't pause. But you're just going to drag some stone walls all the way around, and on this side you're going to have a 1 wall gap, and then this should be a 2 wall gap. You're going to drag it up to the height of the door, which should be about 3 walls. You're going to basically fill in the first floor. There is those windows are 3 high. Originally you saw me drag this across and then do 2 high window. You just need to destroy the walls up here. You're going to drag across the arch beam. It shouldn't matter too much about what side you start from. You're going to drag down some pillars. really don't need to think about this step, it's just what it is. I do understand that when I film at night, it can be really hard to see and really tedious. Windrose in particular really fucked me over with this because you couldn't always sleep. And just so you know, what you're doing around here is just lining it with clay walls. Then you are going to do one wall gaps pretty much. For your window spacing on the back, you're not going to add windows. My reasoning for that is just because I planned on adding buildings to the back of these. I never actually got fully around to it. But in future playthroughs, I'll be adding to this island and doing that. You're going to do the previous steps you did on the other floor just here. And again, because this is such a small build, I just don't add much detail around the sides. Again, this is the exact same as the previous. It can be a little finicky because you have the other roof there. But generally it should be fine if you just always basically drag down from the top where the roof isn't. It should snap all correctly. I start the roof here, I think. That's why I'm starting to destroy these walls. Yeah, I start the roof here. So we are using the 60-degree angles here. And yeah. We do that all the way up to basically the top. And then at the top, we'll basically be using a roof ridge. I have a difficult time with the snapping there. Gosh, I wish they had cycle snapping points. For ease of snapping later on, you see me place some ceilings across. This is the 60-degree roof ridge, and this is a very easy roof. You just you basically go out by one over the frame, so you have a bit of an overhang. For the detailing, some parts will be free-placed. I believe I actually get rid of these parts under the windows later on. This is a free-place beam. I don't have any advice for this other than just YOLO it. It will either look good or you have to redo it. There's like no way. Most of the time I get it first try and I just never bother correcting it. That was a snapped beam, which is just really easy to do. Again, another snapped beam. You basically just copy this onto the back. For just some extra detailing if you wanted it. I don't recommend adding windows on all the sides just because then you have like no space to like actually decorate. Because these are such small builds. But if you like minimal interiors, I can be quite maximalist when it comes to interiors, which is funny because I feel like I can be very minimalist when it comes to exteriors. But yeah, if depending on the level of decor, it just depends on where you want those windows. If you want to copy what was on the front, on the back, you should already know how to... These are snapped pillars, just so you know, but you should already know how to do this from previous. I use some wood beams, basically, large wooden pillars for the sides. You just want to basically just follow that line around. Those are snapped, so it should be pretty easy. Now, I believe, again, under the windows, you're going to snap some more stone pillars. Gosh, my narration is terrible today, but it is what it is. Just dragging it across some stone arches. That's why I destroy the wood beams underneath. You can keep it for whatever is your preference. I think the stone arch beams just look marginally better. And just create a bit more dimension in the build. You do not have to add this, because no one's going to see this, by the way. If you're following the full Market Plaza tutorial series, no one will ever see this part, so you don't have to do it. This is really finicky, and I think I end up free placing because it just doesn't match up correctly. The back, again, I just add some wooden beams for detail because I don't want to add windows here. It would make designing the interior a lot more messy, a lot more finicky, and I like having small, cozy builds. Which just means sometimes you have to sacrifice windows. And that's completely okay. A lot of these beams are free-placed and just me kind of just seeing what works here. Because on my original like mock-up of this build, I actually didn't do this, but I know people might want to build this as a standalone. So this is just showcasing how you can do some timber framing. Which is why, compared to a lot of my videos, this is slowed down just so you can understand what's happening. And now we are at the end of that video. And we are going to go on to, in the original series, what would have been part 6. So this was part 5. Some editing mistakes here, because my friend who often does the walkthroughs has a widescreen. We do love Dreamy's widescreen, but sometimes I forget to format it correctly for the video. Oh god, this is a lot to take in. But again, you are just doing the one tiles. That is how all my builds, and I've done it out of different floor materials just to highlight. You can change this, do whatever you need to do. But I've done it out of different materials to really highlight that these are different sections so that you can count easier. So this is 4, this is 10, and then this is 4 again. This down here, where the wood is different, will be 9 matching up with up here, and this is 13. I don't know why I had to make it 13, but I did. So rip that. And then this is just 4x4 up here. You've had a good shot to look at this. You can see me actually build the base layout in this one. I don't always include this in my videos, and I don't know if I should, because I'm not quite sure what people prefer. So if people want to give me some feedback on that, that would be great, because I tend to just start. So my process is I build a mock-up, then just so you know, these are 1 wall gaps in between the archways, and then it should be, because this is a 9 across, it should be 3 block gaps for the actual doors, and then you go up and get them to the door height. You're just going to drag across the walls. I don't add much detailing to the exterior on this one too much. Just, yeah. You're using the arch on... I feel like now I review this is a little bit too low. You might want to bring that up by 1. But maybe you could make it, because if you've built like me, you have like a huge underground, you could make it go into a basement or something. So I have no plans for what this is going to be interior-wise, so I'm using the... I don't really know how to describe it, but you're going to use clay walls for your second layer here. On some of the builds, I have like different, what do you call it? I like to use different textures for the ground floor and the upper floors. Just because a lot of buildings actually tend to have like the more like structurally sound stuff, like cement and brick, stuff like that at the bottom. Although I feel like most buildings at this time frame would have been wood. So I add a floor here. This floor isn't like fully necessary, it's just so you can get around the build and build. Your windows are basically going to be the same as the previous floors. I tend to like keeping windows the same because it makes stuff easier, but not everyone likes the consistent symmetry. And I didn't address this before, but this just lines up with the tower and the faces on the other side. That's all I made it do. I actually don't think too hard about my windows and stuff like that, and maybe I should. Some builds are, a lot of my builds are actually planned in tiny laid, things like that, random reference images, my own Minecraft builds. I love basing it off my Enshrouded builds as well. Enshrouded is so good. So we're just placing eave corners on basically all the corners, and then going in with the eave facade all the way around, so you have a bit of an overhang. This is on normal speed because all you're doing, and the reason why this is a tile floor, is just to represent where you're placing this roof bit for the like, it's not really a tower, but in my mind it's a tower. That's how we're going to describe it. I'm sure there's a better word for it. So you don't really need to count this, but this is 3 walls across either side. Then there's a 3 block gap in the middle for a door. And then you're going to use the 26-degree angle. You're going to drag the clay wall across all the way to the back. This is really simple. You're just dragging clay walls across, and pretty much other than where the door is, you're going to do what you did on the front to the back. You're just going to have a window on the back. Here you can see me counting, I think it is 4 walls. That should be 4 walls. I place a wall so I know where to break, and to clearly demonstrate to you, that should be 4 walls either side, I think. There's a 2 block gap, and then you're just adding the 26-degree again. I don't know how I misplaced that. The walls here are just because of where the roof will go. You couldn't really place anything there anyway. So it's more for interior than anything. And because I do this roof a little bit differently, where you go, you basically have a wall gap in between 2 sections of the roof, because you only basically had the clay roofs in the 26s, and I ideally wanted a 45 or something for this, so I just kind of worked around it and did my own thing. But yeah, you can see you're just dragging it across, and you're giving it a little bit of an overhang. I think I forget to do it on this side, but I will do it later on, so you should just go ahead and do it in the first place. We are going to break some of the middle clay sections here, you're about to see it. Just so these roofs match up. Because there is basically inverted corner pieces you can use. Obviously another overhang there, and here you see me going in with the inverted corner pieces, so the roof matches up, all nice and lovely, and the roof bridge at the very top, because if you have a one block center or one tile center, you need to use a roof bridge, unless if you want to do some finicky stuff. Just adding a door to this side. You can make this a cute little balcony, adding some eave facades because they match up really nicely with the 26 degree. I'm adding some beams just to build it more in, make stuff look like they belong together, and dragging some pillars down just to hide out the fact that this sticks out under here. Adding some pillars for extra detail. I think I add fences along here in a second, but it's not necessarily necessary, but in my mind, I just see myself doing a nice nose dive off this roof if you don't add them. So in a second, you're about to add the door. So you do a snapped archway, and then you do a free-placed door of your choosing. It needs to be like a free wide door though. So the door is just a little bit more inset, which I actually don't do on any of my other builds, and I really should have. It's just such a cool concept. We're going to just drag out some pillars and finish off the detailing, because we are just done with this. Like I said, I didn't really add much detail to the back and sides and things. You could add some timber framing, add some more pillars like I'm doing here underneath the windows if you wanted to. This is actually done on the back side for a little extra detail, but it is done on the front side as well. But it's not necessary to do. You do not want to. These are free-placed pillars, which to this day is a little bit awkward because you have to try and get them in the center of the other pillars. And you just need to go in and add this on the other side as well. Have to do 2 in that 2 wide gap. Just adding it to the sides here as well on this one. Do I add it? Yes, I add it to the sides on the front as well. And then you're going to add it to the tower as well. Yeah. You add it to the tower. And then you are done with this, with what would have been part 6, which is now condensed down into, I believe, part 3. It will be labeled correctly, at least, in the, description and things. Do I do part 7? I forget. These are the next series of videos are really short. Let's go all the way up to, I think, probably part 9. You can see me building the base. I might need to go back and just show you that layout again. So again, like all the previous steps, this is just you're going across with the basically 1 meter tiles. So I consider this 11 meters and then 6 meters. And here you just see me building the base, showcasing that how I build my bases. You go to reduce lag, you can go and add in the basically 2x2s later. I add 3. I snap them into each other. Then you're just gonna drag it up to the door height. You're going to fill in the walls. There is windows on this side, unlike on the previous build. You're using the 3 high windows. Adding some stone pillars in the corners. You can go outside and do this, it'll be a little bit easier. It skipped in the tutorial, but you just add a floor for ease of building, and then you're building a balcony. So you're just going to drag that. Let me count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 across. And then I think it is 3. Yeah. 3 this way. 3 forward. I don't know how to describe it. But you can see when I drag the archway across, you're just adding some pillars on the corner again, so the balcony has some support. Not that it needs it, but it looks nice. We're using limestone walls here. I ordinarily tend to use clay, but we're using limestone, which is a lot easier with snapping. It has a lot less snapping issues. You're going to be adding a door here. It's a 2 wide door. You're going up by 3 and then just dragging across and down. And then I'm planning out where the windows will go. We're using the 1 wall wide windows. And you're just filling in the sides and filling in the back. There is windows on the back of this one. You can fill this in and add timber framing on the back if you prefer, because it will make doing the interiors a lot more finicky. And then you're adding the arch being just snapped all the way across at the top of the walls. You're adding some balcony railings on the balcony here. Just adding another floor so you can easily build the next stage of the build. Just adding in some windows again. And then I go and delete walls and then add in windows on this side. I'm thinking a little bit about where staircases are going here, which is why I'm just pausing a little bit. And then you're just adding pillars and arch beams, just like the previous steps. It's really easy, really simple. Again, you just build an upper floor so that you have something to stand on whilst you're building. And here we start on the roof. We're using the 60-degree angle roofs here. Using the corner roofs and then going around with just the normal 60-degree roofs. Again, corner roof. You might want to start building this from the outside. And then at the top, you're just going to have a, basically place some ceilings across. And that is done, and you're just making it so you're adding the stone arch beams across all the way. I would recommend you get some scaffolding to do this and not just like jump like I did. Adding in some pillar detailing to the back. And then you are done with this one. And we are going to go straight into the next one, which would have originally been part 8. This is a really quick tutorial. This, in the original, is about a 4-minute tutorial. Again, you're doing those 1 meter tiles, you're doing 8 wide, and then 12 across. Here you can see me building the layout. You might need to spend time working with the terrain. You are adding some double/windows. Then a door. This is meant to replicate like when a restaurant has basically the sitting outside area, but you go through basically 2 big windows. You're going to add some windows on the back, but they're going to be 2x2s, basically. Out here, you're going to make basically where the sitting area would be. We're just going to drag it all the way across. You're going to add some primary, like these small mahogany beams, and then just add a beam so it connects up nicely. Since there was a gap in the original. Now you're going to add a floor inside the build so that you have something to stand on, and then you're going to add walls all the way around, basically where that floor is placed. Here you're planning out the windows. My reference of my other build wasn't quite good, so I couldn't tell where I'd placed the windows properly. I should have gone back and counted, but I didn't. So you'll find out this makes stuff a little bit finicky later on. Because I didn't remember, I think, exact wall heights in one area. This is free place. You're just dragging it across and you're trying to make it match up as best you can. You're going to add another floor so you can stand. You're going to add some windows. Previous place as the last windows. Going to drag up some walls again. And you're going to another floor. Going to add a tiny bit of a balcony up here. You're going to start adding in the roof detailing. This uses 45s, which is really nice. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in anything that isn't leaf roof block currently, so it can look semi-ugly. I will just be honest. I really don't like the leaf roof block. I wish it didn't exist and we had better options, but we don't. So we work with what we got. And then you are done with that build. It goes really, really quick, really fast. Honestly, probably a bit too fast. So you are done with part 8 here. It's a really simple, really quick build, and we're going to go straight into part 9. So this is a 8x8. It's right next to the build we just did. You're just dragging some walls across, and then you're going to delete them to carve out where your door will be. Should be I believe that is 3 walls on either side. You're going up by 3 here, and you're carving a spot for the window, basically. Go up by 3, drag across, and drag across at the top to create the door frame. Then on the sides and on the back, you just basically do the same thing, removing the door. Place some pillars. I hate these curved windows, but you gotta use some different materials somewhere. And then just add some pillars for detailing, and snap your door in. Add some pillars on the side as well, despite the fact no one's going to see it. You add a floor to stand on, and you're basically going to copy the lower floors window placements. And then you put a 2-wide window in. You're going to bring up the walls to just 1 above the windows, which should be 4 walls high. And then add another floor. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Thanks. And just go up again. Same window placement as the previous floor. And you're going to bring those walls up again to just 1 above the window, which should be 4 walls high. You might have to delete some areas of your previous build on this side because they are connected. And then you're just going to add a floor in once again. So sometimes the way I like to have a overhang is just by going around the build and adding a extra floor tile width around the outside. You can do this with beams as well, it's just easier to do it this way. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You just drag around the 26-degree parts. Here I've done it 1 too far along, and I don't realize that for a second. And I'll add a corner in that section. There we go. And you're just adding corners again. Some of this is a little bit misplaced due to I have a window at the top here, and apparently I could not get snapping right. I do love when games don't have cycle snapping points. It is a little bit infuriating sometimes. Despite the fact that I basically don't use it in Valheim. And I go with my frustration instead. So here we're adding the window at the front, which is what is going to cause you to break some of this previous roofing. Don't get stuck like I did. It's generally bad. You're going to break the front part, place a window, and then you're just going to build up the sides of walls. So we're going to basically build out the walls a tiny bit. This is just to try and make the 26 degree walls match up a bit nicer. I'm going to rip me not cutting out this part. you're going to place the 26-degree angle walls there. You're going to snap the 26-degree angles into each other at the top. Or you can do this method that I forgot I did actually, where you basically go up by one beam, you build a beam across, and you create a slight difference in height in the roofs so that you get a nice one block center. It is very awkward to snap the roofing afterwards, by the way. Like the angles there. So I wouldn't worry about that too much because no one's going to see it from the ground that well. And then you just add some pillars around the sides of the builds for some extra detailing. And I think we will call it there for today. So we will be on part 10 next time, but we just finished part 9 today. Okay.